Hey guys, so I'm going to go over the Punnett Square Practice Minion Genetics. So the first question is, what is the name of the special science tool he can use to predict genetic outcomes? And that is a Punnett Square, which is also right here if you have any problems with spelling. Phenotypes are the physical appearance of traits. Then it says to circle the phenotypes in the list below. So I see two eyes, and I know that's something that I could physically see if I was looking at this minion. So I'm going to circle that one. Now, big E, is that something that I could physically see if I looked at the minion? No. Combed hair, could I see that on the minion? Yes. Sprout hair, I could also see that on a minion. Big H, little h? No. Little h? No. One eye I can physically see. All right. Now, genotypes are the combination of alleles. And remember, alleles are those letters that determine a trait. Circle the genotypes in the list below. So sprout hair, is that alleles, letters? No. Big H, little h, that's letters. Big E, letters. Little e, and little h. Now, the next question is, what is a dominant trait? So a dominant trait is the allele that shows if present. So that means if I have big H, or big H, little h, the big H trait will show. The next question is the opposite, a recessive trait. So a recessive trait is the allele that is hidden if a dominant allele is present. So the only way that it shows is if I have little h, then it shows. Big H, little h, hidden. All right, the next section says, look at the genotypes below and tell whether it is heterozygous or homozygous genotype. So I'm going to do that spot first. So if I have big E, they are both capitalized, so that is homozygous. Big E, little e, one is capital, one is lowercase, so they are different. So that is hetero. Remember, hetero means different, homo means same or identical. So if I have little t, they're the same size, so that's homo. Big T, little t, different sizes, so that is hetero. Little h, they're both lowercase, so that is the same, which is homo. And big H, they are both capital, so again, that is homo. Now, the next part of the question says, then label each genotype as showing a dominant or recessive phenotype. So if I have big E, they're both capital. I know dominant is going to show. Big E, little e, even though I have the little e, remember a recessive trait hides, so it's going to hide behind the big E, so the big E shows. Now, this is the only way, if I have lowercase, lowercase, it's going to be recessive. That's the only way the recessive trait can show, is if there's no dominant letters there. So big T, little t, dominant. Little h, no dominants are present, so it's recessive. Big H, dominant. Now we're getting to our first word problem. You got to be really careful with these word problems. Pay attention as you're going through. So we see having two I's is dominant. That's why it's a capital E. Over one I, which means one I is recessive, lowercase e. Make a Punnett square for the cross of a heterozygous female. So I'm going to stop right there and write my mama on here. So if she's heterozygous, I know that means different. So I'm going to have one big E and one little e. Now she's being crossed with a one-eye male. So the only way that I can get one eye, because it's recessive, is little e, little e. Now, could I have put the mama on this side and the daddy on top? Yes, as long as I have their alleles together on one side. Give the possible genotype and phenotype outcomes in a percent ratio. Percent. So when I'm in my Punnett square, I'm going to bring down the mama genes. And I'm going to bring the daddy genes over. Now, I see that I have two boxes that have big E, little e. So that is a possible genotype. And I have two boxes that have little e, little e. Do I have any boxes that have big E, big E? No. So that's not a possible genotype. Now, it wants to know the phenotype. So if I have big E, we go back up here, we see that big E is two I's. And we know little e is one eye. Now, percent ratio. I have 4 boxes total. 2 of those boxes are big E, little e. 2 of those boxes are little e, little e. So that's a 2 out of 4. Now, you guys know from Miss V's class and prior math classes that 2 out of 4 is 1/2. What is 1/2 in a percent ratio? Percent's always going to be out of 100, so 1/2 is going to be 50%. 50%. So each time these two parents reproduce, they have a 50% chance of having a baby with one eye or having a baby with 2 eyes. Remember to pause this video at any time and rewind if you need to see or hear something again. Raise your hand if you have a question that the video does not answer, and I'll come help you. So flipping to the back, we have another problem. And it's another word problem, so we're going to have to be slow and careful. Hair in minions is a trait to be admired. We see that it's a big H. Having sprout hair is dominant to having combed down hair. So if you need to, make a note. Big H, sprout. Little h, comb. So sprout hair is dominant to having combed hair. Show a cross between a homozygous mom with sprout hair. So I know if she has sprout hair, she has a big H. I know because she's homozygous that it's going to be the same size. So I know she has 2 big H's. And a purebred dad with sprout hair. So if the dad is purebred, we know every time he reproduces, it's always throughout his whole family history had the same genes. And because he has sprout hair, we know he has a big H. He cannot have a little h because that would make him a hybrid, not a purebred. So we know it's another big H. Now, if you look at the mama and the daddy, the only alleles that they can give are big H's. So I bring